the biggest news of all. Something is really fundamentally changed in America. I mean, foundationally. But I see something not so good, and this is global, again, not U.S. An election going on right now between Biden and Trump. We also have COVID, which makes a lot of the news. But in my opinion, the biggest news of all in the last few months was that Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, dumped bank stocks, and he dumped airline stocks, and he got into Barrick Gold. In other words, he shifted into gold mining. If he's dumping airline stocks and he's dumping bank stocks, the question is, what does that mean? And CNBC and the other CNBS, as they call it, they don't cover it. Nobody covers it. And this is bigger, Trump or Biden, it's important. But Buffett going into Barrick Gold is 1,000 times bigger news to all of us, because Trump or Biden have no possible power. They cannot stop what's about to happen. So let me say it again. The biggest news of all is not Trump or Biden or COVID. It's Warren Buffett dumping bank stocks. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? And dumping airline stocks and then buying Barrick Gold. We don't know what else he's bought. And the question is, what does that really mean? I just buy gold and silver because I started buying silver in 1964 and I started buying gold in 1972. And the only reason I did that is because in 1971, Nixon started printing money, and we're a reserve currency. The average guy has no idea. What does that mean? We're a reserve currency. What is the fractional reserve system? The average American, even the college professors, have no idea what that means. So for all these years, Kim and I have saved gold and silver, taken a lot of heat from people. He said, well, you should be in this. You should. I said, no, gold and silver are what we save. We don't save cash. What Warren Buffett did signals a change so big in the global economy, not just the U.S. economy, in the global economy. And the small mining companies are the highest risk, but the highest return. I started buying silver in 1964 and gold in 1972. Still have it. And I just don't trust the government. I just don't trust the banks, the government, the Fed, and those liars. They're just a bunch of academic liars, all PhDs like my poor dad. But anyway, so that's why Kim and I have been kind of outsiders on the family tree, because the family tree was into stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, and we're hanging out there with our gold and silver, right?
And one of the big takeaways for me is when, people are always talking about the price of gold. It's really not the number that's important. It's the purchasing power. So if you're looking at the future, the price of commodity, the price of food, the price of housing, all of that, if you look at it in terms of gold, it's actually going to be cheaper. But if you look at it in terms of U.S. dollars, everything's going to get more expensive. And that
or pesos or yuan or yen.
That was a really great way to look at things and actually understand the power of gold versus the U.S. dollar.
And I'll say this much. I just went into Japan and asked me if I was smuggling drugs. They want to know if I was smuggling gold into the country because they don't want gold. If you understand that governments do not like gold and silver, if you can understand that, you'll understand why Kim and I for years have been, just a little bit here, a little bit there and all that. But now we have a lot of it, and it's hidden well all over the world because I don't trust the government.
And would you explain why the government doesn't like gold?
Well, they can't manipulate the money supply. They can't keep you stupid. And the academic system, these PhDs, I have PhD, like my poor dad is poor, helpless, and desperate. They're some of the most stupid people I've ever met in my life because I grew up with them. They know nothing about money, but they're giving me advice on my money. And the Fed, I think, the Federal Reserve Bank has 900 PhDs, and all they're doing is printing more money. I mean, my God, thank you, Jesus. As long as I know they got idiots in the Fed, I'm going to buy more gold and silver. It's not that hard. But the reason I like Peter Schiff, all the years I've worked with him, he actually knows what goes on behind the scenes. I don't. I just don't trust the PhDs.
Well, I also know that as the price of gold does continue to rise, and as you look at the price of gold and it continues to rise over the time to come, that does mean one thing. That means the economy is getting worse.
Yeah, it's not good news.
No, it's not good news for the
world.
world.
Price of gold and silver going up is bad news. But
for the
that's
global
why.
Economy.
But that's why Warren Buffett's really silent, stealth move into Barrick Gold. And Peter says it exactly. They cannot go into the junior miners. That's where Kim and I were operating. But the education we got in that process is
priceless.
So please pay attention. It's not the price of gold. To me, it's the number of ounces you have. Where in silver today, silver is still about 50% or less.
You can get, it's 70 to 80 ounces of silver today equals about 1 ounce of gold.
But the point is this, gold is now at its all-time high, which was about $1,950. Silver is still 40% below its all-time high, which was $50. So silver today, let's say, is 30, and silver used to be 50. So the biggest move. And I think almost anybody on this planet can afford a $30 gold, silver eagle or a silver whatever you buy. But people still hang on to cash. Cash is trash. And remember, all coins have three sides, heads, tails, and the edge, and it's so big. It is the failure of the U.S. dollar as the reserve currency of the world. The question is, what's going to happen? Hyperinflation or hyperdeflation?
Everybody's talking about this reset, but nobody's talking about what is a reset. And he said it very, very clearly. He said there's going to be a reset in the global monetary system, but the reset isn't all this necessarily explosion. The reset is the U.S. dollar is no longer the reserve currency, period.
There will be a reset when we have an alternative. So you cannot just say, well, I'm going to take the dollar.
Oh, and there's an alternative to the dollar.
To the dollar. And what Rickards is saying, it's possibly the SDR, the special drawing rights, which would make China very happy because China is now part of the IMF and the World Trade Organization.
Explain what special drawing rights are.
Special drawing rights is a basket. It's like a diversified portfolio of trash.
Of currencies, right?
Currencies,
different currencies. It's
dollars,
a basket.
yens,
It's a fund of currencies.
Pesos. And what Jim says, which I agree with, is, I think the public is a little, not all of them, but 2% is a little bit smarter today. They're going to say, you're just sending us more garbage. It's like a trash truck with trash from all over the world called currency. Gold going to, let's say, 15,000, which Jim is recommending. It's not good news. It is not good news. But it is good news if you're prepared for it. Because that means there's no different than Buffett dumping bank shares and airlines and quietly sliding into gold. This is not good news, sports fans. But if you're prepared, you can be prepared.